Hello, everyone. Travis Gafford here at the LCS as preseason coverage spins up with coverage presented by Alienware. I'm joined right now by Biofrost, Vincent Wang. Vincent Biofrost Wang. How you been?
Doing pretty well. Had a long break.
Very long break.
Yeah, actually, surprisingly, really longest break I've ever had for sure.
What did you do?
I played a little bit of WoW, which people, which is World of Warcraft. If people don't know, I'm not sure if I did anything else. Honestly, I played a lot of League.
You got a cat.
Yeah, I got a cat. Gray was really nice. Yeah,
So are you? I assume you are very excited for LCS to kick off.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, I also want to just keep having a break at the same time, but I think LCS is something to look forward to for sure.
You haven't lost your mind after all these days, like just sitting around.
No, not yet. Because I've been kind of playing League still at the same time. So
What's it been like getting back into the groove of things?
it's rough, especially if you haven't played competitive League in a really long time to get back into the groove of things. But I think everyone's willing to just get back into the groove and try to be good again.
Well, let's talk about the new lineup. What do you think of the roster?
We have Wiggly, who's a rookie who's never really played in LCS before, so it's gonna end up a lot of it's gonna end up coming to him if he performs well. Power Evil, he's a known quantity and he's been known to play pretty well, so I have no doubts about that. And well, the other three, Mead, Stixay, and Darshan are all the same.
What's it been like working with Power of Evil? Because I mean, I feel like he kind of flew under the radar last year since he was on one of the lower performing teams.
He's really good. I think he's pretty similar to Bjergsen actually, in terms of play style. He wants to play through mid. I think even on Optic, they're mainly focused on playing around Power Evil, so he's pretty good.
And what is it like? Is the vibe on the team different from where it was at the end of last year?
I think it's slightly different because we do have two different personalities on the team, and our coaching structure is different, as well as the staff in general. And even though our strategic coach Irene isn't here yet, so it's just been Weldon. But I'm sure that when he's here, it's also going to add a different element to reviews.
There's a lot of people who are excited about Weldon and a lot of people that are skeptical about Weldon. So I'm very curious to hear sort of what you think it's been like working with Weldon. I mean, you've worked with him in the past, correct, on TSM?
Yeah, I worked with him in my first split, and we did really well, obviously. I actually didn't hear much skepticism about Weldon, but I know he's had good results with a lot of teams with G2, with TSM. So he's really good at bringing out good performances from players, and he brings a good infrastructure to having team reviews and facilitating just team discussions in general.
What has it been like for you just prepping for the season? Like, because I'm sure last year was really rough for you, and we've talked about this before. Now you want to somehow break out of that mindset and all right, everything's going to be different this year. So what has it been like for you going through that process?
Mm, in this past month, we've had a 2-week boot camp where we practice, and even if we haven't had the best results in scrims, we usually just take really learning mindset towards things. And once you lose a couple games in LCS, you might fall into the trap of you lose confidence and you just end up into the cycle of oh shoot, I just can't play well anymore. I don't think I've gone into that. And I'm just focused on my own performance, and after I get my own performance down, I look towards the team and I look towards helping individual people.
What do you think of the other teams out there? And are there any that you are looking forward to playing, or you think are going to be rivals? I mean, what do you think?
Rivals. I don't think we can have I don't think I can confidently say that CLG has any rivals right now based on our last year performance.
I just mean are you this is the team that I want to go after?
Well, I mean, TL looks really strong because supposedly they upgraded 2 roles in mid and support. And anyone that plays against them is pretty much considered an underdog.
Right.
And when you play against a team like that, you have nothing to lose. So it's like, let's say you play against like Double Lift and Core JJ and you like lose. It's like, okay, well, it's Double Lift and Core JJ. And if you win, it's like, wow, are they bad or are we just really, really good?
Yeah.
So you have everything to get and you pretty much don't have anything to lose, right?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, that's a team that we just have nothing to lose against, and it'd be nice, like kind of CLG fashion, to be able to beat them. Of course, we kind of have to start slow.
Yeah. With CLG, I'm very curious to know like what your expectations are with this team, because I feel like similar to what you were kind of saying, like the only way to go is up with this team this year. So what do you think you're capable of with the 2 changes that you've made?
That's kind of wrong because we still have 2 more spots to go down, but
I mean, you didn't make it to playoffs. Let's put it that way, right? Like, and quite frankly, if you don't make it to playoffs, then whatever. Like, it's not like, who cares what order you landed in? I'm sure it feels worse maybe to be in 10th, but if you didn't make it to playoffs, you're out. So how do you, what do you think the team can do this year?
obviously I would want us to make playoffs first. I think before we had like when we first formed the new CLG roster of like Huki and Rainover, we were like, okay, we're gonna try to get first place. Obviously, we kind of shot a little bit below that, and now I think expectations are just that okay, first we make playoffs and then we decide on other stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that's like the first part of the goal. Like you need to have like these goals, like these steps, in order to, I mean, get first, right?
Well, maybe there's not any teams that you're interested in being a rival of, or whatever. You're just going to do your best. But I'm curious if there are any teams that you think are interesting or fun, like any that you're like, oh, I'm really curious about seeing how this roster lines up, or like any storylines that you're like, what is going to happen there?
Golden Guardians is one because it's kind of similar to Rocks Tigers, where they have like 5 players that didn't really do like the best on their teams, and now they're here all together with something to prove. Like Ole, he got kicked, and then Hanser, he got kicked, and then Froggen's coming off of like a really long hiatus of like competitive play, and then you have Deathly, who's just he was there, and then you have Contracts, who is also there from the last roster, so they have everything to prove, and they're kind of like hyped up. So it's interesting to see how they'll play in LCS. I think other than that, Clutch also is significantly different. They have like Huni, and then just like I'm pretty sure that's what most people think. They're like they have Huni, and like who else do they have, right?
I mean, he's such a big enough personality that you can't. He just takes up that whole like that's now Clutch's brand identity. I think it's just Huni, right?
Yeah, that's another team that I'm looking forward to seeing. We did see Piglet and Vulcan play in LCS like last split, but it was just for one game, so I'm kind of interested to see like how they do in like a whole span of a whole split. Yeah, those 2 teams mainly.
What about the specifically the CLG bot lane? So what are you guys doing? Because you and Stick say like, how do you rise up to become one of the best bot lanes out there?
A lot of it's just like hard work, all that like boring stuff, but it's kind of just taking like anything that you can from like other bot lanes. Like every bot lane is gonna have something that they do well, and it's about like saying, okay, well this bot lane they're really good at playing like maybe like Yasuo Alistar bottom. Like okay, you take that and you like learn all about all the specifics that they're doing, and I think it's just about learning every single thing from every bot lane. Just no ego, just putting it aside, and I don't know, just you have to put a lot of hours into it.
How do you feel about the meta going into this? Because I'm always kind of curious, like, are the pro players going to be happy at the start of spring split, or are they going to be sad?
Nowadays, it feels like we're just ramping on the amount of like OP champions there are. There's like Aurelia, Aatrox, Akali, like the new Silas or whatever. Like that looks absolutely broken. I don't know if that's gonna be in like first week of LCS. Probably not second week. But like there's just so many broken champions nowadays that you just feel like you just need so many bans. But for support at least, it's pretty much been the same for like the past year or so. It'll kind of just engage supports. I'd be open to it changing to like range supports. They are nerfing Relic Shield in 9.2, and if they nerfed Aftershock as well on top of that, then I could see like range supports just dominating the meta. But that'd be cool to see.
Meteos was saying he's been having a lot of fun ever since the Janna and Lulu nerfs, and he's really sad because he feels like they're gonna come back soon. Are you hopeful for that?
There's like some whispers, and there's just like inklings of like, okay, we might see Jana or like Lulu pop up again with like all these bans, and I mean not all these bans, all these like nerfs. I'd be open to that because as a support player, if I can just win lane by pressing E as Jana, like
So you would like to have just as long as everything can be easy for you, that's good for you.
yeah, I mean, you can obviously show a lot of like people are like, oh my god, Janet, there's like no skill, or like Karma, there's like no skill. You can show a lot of skill. Like you can be really lane dominant with those champions if you play it well. It's just when other people play against it, or like you don't really know the champion's limits, then it's just like, okay, what does this Jana player even do, right?
Anything else that you're excited about for the start of LCS?
I don't know. Excited to do more interviews with you, Travis.
Hey! There we go. That's what I was looking for. Is there anything that you want to say to any of the fans out there that are curious about CLG this year?
I say the same thing every time, but thanks for, I guess, supporting us through the past year. I know that maybe some of the fans have left, or some of the fans are still like, okay, well, what is going to go on? But it is a new season, so there's new hope, and hopefully we do better than last year.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Vincent, for the interview. Looking forward to seeing how you do in the coming year. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Hey, thanks so much for watching my preseason coverage. It's really important that you know this is brought to you by Alienware because they're sponsoring everything I do in 2019. It's very hype. I don't know if you've seen the video yet. It's on my channel. You can go check it out. It's the announcement video. It's great. Anyway, the point is that I'm really excited to be returning for LCS interviews this year. It's going to be rad. Those are coming up in just a couple of weeks. Until then, you've got this preseason coverage here. And if you could do me a big favor, go down and check the links in the description because there's some cool stuff down there, including, by the way, a link over to Alienware's site, dell.com/Travis. That helps me out. They just announced a bunch of cool stuff at CES, and so you can check out what they've done over there. It's really great. Can't wait to produce more content like this for you throughout the year, and stay tuned for that. Thanks so much.